Just need to check her eyes. Yeah. Just... It's the virus.
But the same virus that killed your friend? Molly's got it?
Yeah, well, everyone's got it. The weird thing is you don't. See, the virus, where it was transmitted from the tower.
The Flash. They said that was immunization.
Yeah, well, yeah, the EMP did, in fact, carry an immunization to the bacteria, but it was just a cover. The virus was what they wanted to deliver. It lives inside the brain and makes us do whatever they want.
That's impossible.
Is it? You've already seen it when you arrived. See, the virus, where it was transmitted from the tower. See, the virus, where it was transmitted from the tower.
Fifth generation technology promises faster download speeds and conveniences that most of us have never dreamed of, but will also be blanketed with a new type of radiation called millimetre waves. Health experts are warning about the rising risk with a 5G rollout.
Scientists from 42 countries are now warning their governments about the emerging health problems associated with wireless radiation.
The most prevalent symptoms include headache, fatigue, decreased ability to concentrate, tinnitus, irritability, and insomnia. Impacts on the heart and the nervous system are also of great concern. We predict that the number of people who develop the symptoms I just mentioned will rise in the places where 5G is first installed.
Dr. Magda Havas is internationally recognized for her research on the biological effects of electromagnetic pollution.
At lower frequencies, scientists are predicting damage to eyes, loss of insect populations which are already declining, antibiotic resistance in bacteria, and physiological effects on the nervous system and on the immune system.
Radiation from radio frequencies is classed in the same category of carcinogens as lead. One advisor to the World Health Organization said there's enough evidence that if they were to re-evaluate radio frequency radiation,
it would be placed in class 1, i.e. a human carcinogen.
The telco insider whose mobile phone tower protest went out of control is back. Now, he drove a tank down city streets, destroying transmitters to highlight what he saw as dangerous tower emissions. Now, of course, he was sent to jail for that, but the former technician hasn't changed his mind about the health effects of mobile phone towers, and he's preparing another protest. But as Laura Sparks reports, this one won't involve a tank.
The message was that how dangerous it was. I wasn't thinking clearly. I made some rash decisions, which I really regret.
But it was out of sheer frustration, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah.
His desperation drove him to extreme measures. John Patterson did the unthinkable. He went on a destructive spree in a tank, and now he's paid dearly for his actions.
I was proved guilty, and I was jailed for my offences.
How dangerous is this office?
It's catastrophic. You wouldn't work here.
We first met John, a former senior telecommunications technical officer with Telstra, more than 2 years ago. Back then, he was waiting to be sentenced, facing a jail term for his tank attack.
I was involved with rolling the technology out. I was very responsible for any safety things that actually happened. So I felt obligated to actually do something about it.
John borrowed his mate's armoured personnel carrier, one of only 2 in the country, and rammed 8 equipment shelters housing transmitters for mobile phone towers.
It disrupts the bioelectric system of your body, which is really your brain, your nervous system, how your muscles talk.
For 20 years, John tested Telstra digital systems. Over the time, he realised the dangers of electromagnetic radiation. When he moved to this Telstra depot in between 2 mobile phone towers, he got violently sick.
It microwaved us. So I got all the test gear out and measured it and drew up a report and showed that it was an occupational hazard to work in that building with that amount of radiation. And I was immediately removed from service.
After taking a voluntary redundancy, John went on to warn every responsible authority.
Everyone said I was technically correct, but no one had the power to stand up on my side. People within the industry they've just misinformed all of the relevant authorities.
So if the industry knows mobile phones are so dangerous, don't they have a legal duty of care to tell us?
Anyone that realises that it's bad is removed from the industry.
In sheer desperation, John inflicted $6 million worth of damage on the transmitter shelters. He eventually pleaded guilty to malicious damage and served 20 months in jail.
It was terrible, a terrible experience. I'd never want to go back to jail. I'll never break the law.
There's about 18,000 mobile phone towers dotted across Australia, and John's not the only one worried. Electrical engineer John Lincoln.
People start losing their regular sleep and they get lethargic.
Australia's top neurosurgeon Charlie Teo.
We're seeing the increase in frequency of tumours in the insular region, which is this region right here, the temporal lobe, the frontal lobe. So it's right there where you hold your phone.
Not safe, not right, not on. And it's not just radiation from mobile phones and towers. Here in Melbourne, residents are worried about a large-scale expansion of this electrical terminal station.
EMF is known to have an association with the incidence of childhood leukemia in a population. So that's electromagnetic fields from high voltage equipment.
The Australian Communications and Media Authority says there is no substantiated evidence on adverse health effects from mobile phone towers or mobile phones. But John says it's the accumulation.
We're in Sydney Basin, there's probably 10 million phones in Sydney Basin. Then there's all the Wi-Fi is used. There's all of the communications, radio, TV, everything.
John's now setting up a business. He's got $500,000 worth of equipment, including this $80,000 spectrum analyzer, one of only a few in the country. So how much radiation is in here because of that tower?
It's equivalent to thousands of mobile phones being inside the office here.
All ringing at once?
Yes.
So if I was to work in here for 2 years with that mobile phone tower there and that radiation in here, how would it affect me?
Worst case scenario, bowel cancer, liver cancer, lung, heart, brain problems.
His aim to alert people on how to identify immediate effects of radiation, for example, sleeplessness, and then to teach those concerned about how to safeguard their homes and offices.
What you shouldn't have plugged in during night time when you're sleeping, just general occupational health and safety. If you're not getting your sleep, I can show you how to get good night's sleep.
And a Senate committee inquiry has been taking submissions into where mobile phone towers can be located. We'll be hearing more about their findings in May.
These service personnel, playing the role of an unruly mob at Georgia's Moody Air Force Base, are about to fall prey to an invisible ray. The hulking panel atop this Humvee is part of what the U.S. military calls the Active Denial System, or ADS. It's designed to incapacitate enemy combatants with an unnerving, non-lethal sensation of intense heat. Watch as the ray silently strikes and scatters the crowd.
The Active Denial System has three great characteristics. First of all, it's safe. Second, it's effective. And third, it has a tremendous range compared to the other non-lethal weapons that today's warfighter has.
This is the heart of this 100 kilowatt transmitter. This is the gyrotron. 200 kilowatts of electricity is fed in and 100 kilowatts of radio frequency comes out. That millimeter wave energy comes out an aperture underneath the main reflector, hits the subreflector, which illuminates that main reflector and sends a roughly antenna-sized beam downrange. Those holes that you see in the antenna are for the cameras and other visual equipment that the operator uses so that he knows exactly where that beam is going.
It's operated by a joystick. The operator looks into the console, sees exactly what that antenna is aimed at, moves the joystick left, the antenna slews to the left, same way to the right. Then when there's an individual who's identified as a troublemaker, he has a cursor. He can put that cursor on that individual, pull the trigger that's on the joystick, and the energy is sent downrange at the speed of light.
The electromagnetic radiation released by the Active Denial System is similar to the microwaves in your microwave oven, in that it causes the water molecules in the target to become excited and heat up. But that's where the similarity ends. The ADS is designed to heat only the very surface of the skin. It does this by outputting only the carefully chosen radio wave frequency of 95 gigahertz. Even though it can easily penetrate clothing, the ADS generates a much shorter and safer wavelength of radio waves than those used in microwave ovens.
The active denial system millimeter wave directed energy beam reaches 1/64th of an inch into human skin. So that is the outermost layer of the skin, roughly equivalent to about 3 sheets of notebook paper. It is essentially affecting the pain nerves in the outermost layer of the skin, heating them up and causing an immediate repel effect.
Even these stoic servicemen, aware of what's about to happen,
engage,
can't help but flinch when they feel the heat.
This is the first time I've experienced the beam from the active denial system, and it feels like an intense warmth feeling, kind of similar to opening a very hot oven door, and it's a compelling feeling that you want to get out of the way of this beam. If you were not expecting this, it would definitely shock you and make you want to move.
The ADS represents just the latest effort to devise an effective ray weapon.